Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm super excited. Today we have my good friend, J.R. Longee, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, excited to be on. Thanks, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for being on, and go ahead and tell everybody about yourself.
Yeah, so as Rich said, my name is J.R. Longee. Grew up in the Sacramento area, moved here when I was 5 with my dad got a job out here. Originally born in Portland, Oregon. And just, been growing up in Sacramento. Loved it. Went away for a few years for college down in Los Angeles. Kind of moved around from Los Angeles to San Francisco to San Jose. That's where I met my now wife, and then we moved back. Just kind of a crazy, I've lived in all the big cities, and minus San Diego and in California. So, and now here, I work in the real estate industry, and that's how I met Rich, among other things. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. So what was it like for you moving around so much during your youth, getting acquainted in new friend groups, new schools?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was kind of cool because every time, and I was a big sports person, so every time I moved around, that's what saved me. Was able to, play basketball. At the time, I played baseball. Those were kind of my two main sports, and I always loved soccer, but I only played it as a little kid. But anyway, sports would really lead me to a new friend group. It would kind of get me in the door. It would get me, because I'm not a shy person, but I observe first. Mm-hmm. So if I go to a room, I'm observing. I'm saying, okay, who's doing what? Who's the loudest? Who makes, who says outlandish stuff, as a kid, or who you want to stay, who gets in trouble, right? But yeah, I would say sports has always helped me, because especially with that new high school in San Juan, I didn't know anybody. So I got into, basketball, played a little of soccer, and then eventually that's how I found golf too. Was in high school, which is now my sport.
Right.
Everybody now kind of knows me as the golf guy. With our friend group and just my family and everybody who kind of knows me now is like, oh, where have you played? And even my dad would joke like, oh, where'd you play today? And I was like, oh, I played Teal Bend today. He's like, oh. He's like, God damn it. I was just kidding, but okay.
But okay, you got it in. You got it in.
Yeah,
I totally can relate with sports being, the center point, the focal point of finding new friend groups and everything like that. So as you're moving around, what struggles did you face outside of the sports, connecting that way? Like that's your way in. What struggles were you facing as a kid?
No, I would say as far as in school and stuff with social life, I didn't really struggle as in that aspect, because I think sports got me through. And then if I wasn't, didn't have a friend group or whatever, I had sports, basketball, you can shoot hoops. Golf, you can go to the range, or if you have one golf buddy, we can go play, But I would say if any struggles, it's probably more the home. When my sophomore year of high school is when my parents split up, and that was when they started the proceedings of divorce, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm the oldest of 4, and my youngest sister is 13 years younger than me. We all have the same parents, which is nice. But that's when, I was pretty much almost grown, about to move on in a couple years. And my parents divorced, and I think that kind of left my, because I grew up with a family unit, right? Mm-hmm. And my sisters didn't. So I think if any struggle during like my formative years is probably when my parents were getting divorced. You could tell that I wasn't, focused on schoolwork, because before that I was number 1 in my class. I was, basketball star. I was one of the best. If any of my guys are watching, they'll probably say, no, you weren't. But, but one of the best on our team, and just really was my focus. But after that, it just kind of all fell down. And in retrospect, looking back, and I didn't see it at the time, but I can see it now, looking back, mm-hmm. that was a deciding factor in my youth and high school, right, and my trajectory. But the one thing that I never fell off was I always wanted to go to college, because no one really in my family had graduated, at least directly. Like I had a a step uncle who had graduated from UCLA, and so that kind of gave me but I always knew that if I wanted to get somewhere or get beyond where my parents were, I had to go to college for that. So,
And you stuck with that plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even I finally graduated when I was 27 years old from CSULA in Los Angeles, and but I did it. It took forever, but I did it.
You did it. You did it. Hey,
Done, yeah.
some paths are 4 years, some are a little bit longer, but congratulations on accomplishing that goal. I know how much that means for you.
Yeah.
And being the oldest of four myself, we know how important it is for us to lead the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Not let the family dynamic, whatever goes on, whether great or not, it's all can be used for good.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that, man. And
Yeah,
what's your relationship with your siblings now?
It's all pretty good. My two sisters one lives in Thomas here locally. Another one lives in Oakland, and then the youngest lives in Phoenix with my mom. So
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, when we get together, it's like no time has passed. It's all good to go. We can call each other anytime. Time, we probably don't stay, or at least I don't stay in contact as much as I would like to, or they would like me to, but it's still all good. They can call me up anytime and say, hey, you haven't called me in a while. I said, all right, you're right.
You're right.
Let's sit down and talk. What's going on? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can relate with that. My parents split up. I'm the oldest of four, too. And my parents split up when we were 12.
Okay, yeah.
And moved to
About
Southern
that time,
California
yeah.
with nobody, and it was like, there's some struggles within the relationships, going to foster care and doing all that stuff that we're still growing through,
Yeah, definitely.
We have one brother that's a little bit estranged right now. My door's always open when he comes back,
Yeah.
but my other two younger siblings, biological siblings, like we're rock steady,
Yeah.
So good for you though on graduating UCLA. Would you?
Yeah. No, Cal State LA.
Cal
I
State
wish.
LA.
It was funny. I actually got a job interview because the guy thought it was, because you put CSU LA, like CSU Los Angeles on a application, and right away he called me and he was like, no. He's like, oh yeah, so you know this person at UCLA? I'm like, I didn't go to you. He's like, what? And so it kind of showed that just right away, name recognition, you could probably get in places that I probably wouldn't have the same opportunity to get into places. I didn't get the job, but because I think he wanted to, you want to help your alumni, you want to help people. If you go to the same school, you just kind of feel that camaraderie. So I get it. I understood it, but I thought it was kind of funny that I felt through his interview and through his questions and how it went that it was all based on UCLA.
Right. Relationships, man.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Definitely. That's why you go to those schools, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my buddy, one of my high school buddies, went to UCLA, and yeah, the connections he has is crazy.
Yeah.
So, and the people he knows.
I love that, man. So you got into golf in high school.
Yeah. So my freshman coach, Coach Ruby, was the golf coach. And before that I had played baseball. Baseball was my dad's sport. And I liked it, but it wasn't my sport. My sport was basketball. And my coach Ruby was like, hey, he's like, what are you doing for spring? I said, I don't know. I was going to play baseball, I guess. And he's like, no, you're coming to play golf. He's like, have you ever played before? I said, well, I've swung the sticks with my dad or whatever at some little three pitch and putt courses, par 3. And so he's like, no, yeah, you're playing golf. I'm like, all right. So that's really how I started. I mean, really getting into it. And then, I mean, as you know, once you start playing, you want to get better. You see everyone around. We started playing other high school teams my freshman year. And because we were a smaller school, we were automatically on varsity. So we were playing seniors who had played forever. I mean, we got our butts whooped. Like, I think our whole goal of our first freshman year was break 50, because you play 9 holes in high school. So it was just break 50, and I mean, it was like 62, 54. Finally, I don't remember when I finally broke 50, but for sure sophomore year, I definitely broke 50, because by that time, by the end of my sophomore year, I qualified for subsections. Okay. So for that, you have to, I think it's like 83 on a par 72, 83 is like qualification.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure I was breaking 50 then, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's just kind of how I started. And I feel like that was the foundation of just kind of loving the game and wanting to get better in the competition, you know? And I think as a sport, you know, you're a sports guy and we just love competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just want to get like, and I think that's why we gravitate to golf as, you know, as we get older. It's a lifetime sport. You know, one thing I remember before I played in high school, but I went out with my dad and one of his, and my buddy and his dad. And his dad told me, said, hey, like, you may not play it now, but get into golf.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you never know where it's going to take you. You never know what business, like, he's like, a lot of business gets done on the golf course. And he said, and it's a lifetime sport. You can play forever. I mean, you could play, even if you maybe can't walk that well, you can ride a cart up to the green and, you know, putt, get back in the cart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they let you. You can play till you're 80 years old if, you know, able-bodied, you know, at least if you can move. And that just kind of always spoke to me. And it's very true now. Like, it's crazy that he said that. He's since passed away, but I wish I could tell him that, like, what he told me that day came to fruition. Like, you know, I made connections, you know, that's how we essentially met, really,
Mm-hmm.
or became closer. And we became friends. And then, you know, if they like you, they'll do deals with you or business or whatever it may be, whatever transactions, you know, you deal with or whatever industry you deal with. And then, you know, even if that doesn't happen, I can play this game until I'm 80, I hope.
Right.
You know?
I hope longer.
Until the day I'm gone, I can play this sport. So
absolutely.
I can play golf.
It's so funny you bring that up. Like, even if you can't walk well, on my birthday we had Blake out, right?
Oh, yeah,
and he's got one leg, right,
Oh, yeah.
from a motorcycle accident. And he had a great time. It's like, that's so awesome that we had so many people out there. We put our event, or you put our event on once a month.
Yeah.
And I think just having that camaraderie, those relationships, golf is a singular sport. Right. And like you, I'm good at a lot of sports that I play.
Yeah.
From basketball, football. Heck, I bowled a 228 a couple times in my life, right? Yeah. Like, I just love competition. And golf is such a sport where it's you don't try harder. If you try harder, you get worse. Yeah. Right? And if you think about it more, you get worse. Yes. And something that you actually helped me along with, as well as our other friends, was, hey man, it's water off a duck's back. If you blow up on one hole, leave it at that hole. It's all about the next swing. Yeah. And there's a lot of reflection I do on golf and life. If you have a bad moment, you can carry that with you for a week, for a month, for a year, or you can turn the page. All right, let it out, do whatever you got to do. Give it a second. Give it that moment that it needs, or that you need to process it, and then do what's next. Yeah. And since converting my mindset on the links with that, dude, my score's dropped. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think golf can be translated to life all the time. I mean, for instance, think of a par 5 or any hole, right? You slice it to the right and you're in the other fairway. And in life, maybe you take a direction and you get off course and you're in a different lane or different direction that you even knew, but the next shot can bring you right back. You know, now, you're in the right on the other fairway, but now you can go over the trees, you have a shot at the green, and you can still come back and then let's say you 2-putt par, and on the scorecard it looks the same.
Looks the same.
Because, you know, the journey was fun, or the journey was, maybe you got angry, maybe, you know, you saw some of the things that you didn't think you'd see, just metaphorically. And it still brought you back to the original green, the original target you were looking for. You finished where you wanted to, a par on the scorecard, and, you know, nobody knows other than you did good on that hole. Right?
Yeah, I'm not wearing my hat right now, but we celebrate pars, you know? Yeah. We celebrate pars.
Exactly.
I mean, even bogey for me, man. I'm happy with that. Yeah. But, you know, that's so profound that you said Coach Ruby. Yeah. What was your relationship with him? He was your basketball coach and, and the golf coach?
It's funny you caught that. He was, I would say he was probably like close to like a father figure. I mean, my dad was there, and everything. But just in school, like I could always go to him, or he was our coach, he was our sophomore coach, and then I had him all 4 years for golf. Just kind of someone you could, and he was a younger guy too, so at least relative. I think he was probably our age now, coaching high school sports. But he's also a teacher too at San Juan, so you could see him. But yeah, I mean, it was really, our relationship was really cool. I just actually probably a couple years ago saw him again, and we got out on the golf course, and it was just really cool to see him and for him to see me, through all my changes and, over probably a 15-year span, and to come back and just like seem like time never, with those certain relationships where it's just like time hasn't passed. You catch up right where you were, or you just joke about the same things, or you still have the same relationship, even after all that time. So it was really cool. Yeah. I would say, he really helped me through, just in school and sports.
Yeah. So, well, he was there for you when your parents split up.
Yeah.
He was there as a role model for you.
Yeah.
And got you into this sport. Yeah. That's everlasting, true. Man. Yeah. Like, whenever we golf, man, I might bring up Coach Ruby. Yeah. Let's go. What would Coach Ruby do here?
Oh, he would love that.
Yeah.
No, but he was a lefty though, so his swing was a little, I can't really emulate his swing because it's lefty.
Yeah, lefties are so wrong.
It just looks funny.
Yeah, shout out to the lefties out there. My little sister's a lefty. I give her grief all the time. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So during your childhood, when you're going through that, and you have your friends that you're playing sports with, and you're growing through, and you have Coach Ruby throughout, when you're going through that, was he there for you like during the separation of your parents? Did you have some good conversations with him?
Nothing I can remember. I mean, he definitely knew that it was, I was going through it, but I don't remember any like real like heart-to-heart conversations. Just kind of, get in there, come on, bub, let's go. Let's get, kind of the just keep going.
Just keep patting you. Yeah. Just keep patting you forward. Hey.
So, which is nice, because I think school, some people, use school and sports to get away from their real life, right? Mm-hmm. It's a safe haven, or at least it's comfortable. You know what you're going to get, right? And and that's what you gravitate towards, is the comfortableness so I mean, I think that there wasn't anything specific, but
he was there.
But definitely,
he was there. Yeah, that's sweet, man. I can relate with on the course where it's a blank slate, right? Whatever happens is going to be on that shot, right? Not the full hole, but what's on that shot right there. And when we're in our businesses and in our relationships, and we hear all the noise on social media, all this, everybody's at each other's throats right now, and convictions this way, convictions that way, wars and all that stuff. You get out there and play with some friends, right?
Yeah.
That you get to put everything at peace.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm here right now. I'm going to enjoy this. One thing I found for me with golf too is like, I love being outdoors.
Oh yeah.
And for a long time, I wasn't going outdoors because I was throwing my life away with the substance abuse problem. That when you came into my world, showed me golf, I'm like, well, I'm gonna beat JR one day. Yeah. I got a long way to go.
There's always opportunity. You catch me on a bad day.
I just got to get you on one hole, dude. I'll be pumped. But I think about that often when we're out there riding in the cart, just if we have music on or not, just talking about life. Hey, how's your lady doing? How's business going for you? Yeah. Right? Is there anything I can help with and be a shoulder for you? And as you are for me, man, you've helped me through a lot. And just having that, you bring a large level head of peace and tranquility about you. And, both my younger brothers, well, both Patrick and Wyatt carry that with them. They have that and I don't. Yeah. It's a process. I'm wired different. Yep. And so when we're connecting on there, I think it brings me peace. Yeah. So awesome, man.
Yeah, it's I think that's I think everybody says it about me. I think, and one of our first conversations is like you said, you told me, you just have a process about me, right? Where I didn't come in, I wasn't guns a-blazing. I wasn't, hey, I'm JR, I'm, work with me, or you need to come play golf with me. It was let me learn about you. Let me see what you're about, and vice versa. You came to me and said, tell me more about yourself. Which was kind of a funny question at the time. Mm-hmm. I still remember that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I like Rich because he kind of reciprocated that, where he was like, all right, I've seen you around. We haven't really got to know each other, but let's give it a shot.
About?
Yeah,
exactly. What are you about?
Yeah.
Like, is there something here? Like, hey, we planted a seed, we watered it, and we've been watering this awesome plant that's continuing to grow and flourish, man.
Yeah.
I'm
and
curious.
now look, I'm on your podcast.
Yeah, now look at that, dude. I love it, man. Thank you so much.
Who would have thought back then, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if I had one of these,
Yeah.
But it's all a process, man. I want to get everybody's stories out and help the world, man. I think there's a lot of, if you're focused on the news and you're focused on what's wrong, you're missing the point. We only have a finite amount of years here, and we're lucky to have another day.
Yep.
How do you want to spend those days?
Well, I think, like you said, with the calmness, and I think I've always been, even through the tough times when you're a kid, and I've always been positive, like optimistic, overly optimistic, where, it doesn't matter what happens in my life or bad things happen. I just always think, well, I'm not going to freak out about it because I know it's going to work out. I know it happened for a reason, whatever it may be. So I always keep the optimistic look on life, and I just want to make sure I keep that. I don't want to ever, like you said, things in the news, maybe people that you've talked to, all of a sudden they go political on you, or, it's just, in my everyday life, I try to keep a positive outlook, an optimistic outlook, and it's helped me throughout because, during COVID, I got laid off from my job, and I'm like, oh no, what are we gonna do? But I know it's gonna work out, right? So I just kept interviewing, and actually, I interviewed for another job that actually led me to the job I have now, and I was really bummed about missing that first opportunity. But I said, you know what? It happened for whatever reason. And look, I think, and now that company went out of business. So I would have been right back where I was had I accepted that job.
Square one, and maybe in a tougher economy.
Exactly. So I do, obviously you get disappointed and down, but I just always think, okay, on to the next thing, much like golf. You hit a bad shot, you shank something to the right, like, okay, let's recover. What's the next shot going to be? Even if it's, golf analogy, even if it's a low burner underneath the tree, you hit it. Okay, now I have that in my repertoire. So next time if it happens and something in life happens, you've gone through it and you can have that positive outlook because you'll come out on the other side.
You have an opportunity to, for sure.
Exactly.
And if it's not the next one, the next swing could be great, right? I do know, and it's so funny you bring that up because now I'm correlating my foot placement.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm going to strike a ball low, or when I need to get more loft, or I'm getting out of the sand, or whatever it is, it's like, hey, where are my feet lined up? And we're marching down this pathway. We're going down this path called life. And everybody I've ever met, every single person, even I haven't met Jesus, right? The sinless man, right? Yeah. Like, he went through it all, right? So none of us are there's no force field around any of us, and life is going to happen. And it's my firm belief, and I know it's instilled in you, it's what you can do with that, what you learn from that. Had you gotten that other job, would golf with all of us be a thing? I think we have an amazing group, man. We have sometimes 20, 40 guys out there on a given Friday, just all out there enjoying each other. Yeah. Right? I think it's incredible.
Yeah, no, I mean, it like I said, everything happens for a reason, and that's, through my life, it's kind of funny to say, like, obviously I'm not super successful and I'm not like a millionaire or anything, but in life, I feel like I am because I've just been always positive, and I met you guys, and just everything that happened in my life was bad, but at the end of the day, if you look back, it was perfect.
Right.
It was perfect.
Was it bad, or just a bad moment that turned life to this great
or you learn something from it, like for instance, like you said, parents getting divorced. Yeah, it was bad, but then it made you closer with your siblings, right? we had the kind of bonded, I guess you could say trauma bonded, but it still bonded us.
A bond.
Yeah, it's still, or, me not getting a job and being really bummed. And then the next phone call is like, hey, I heard you were interviewed for this job. A friend of a friend told me you interviewed for this job. Hey, we have another opportunity. Are you interested? Well, yeah, at least let me talk to him. I never say no to any opportunity because you never know where it's going to lead you.
Right.
So, but yeah, just being, that optimistic, positive outlook.
Yeah, absolutely. And
going back, things happen for a reason.
Yeah, right? They definitely do. My my biological siblings and I, my sister is 11 years younger than me, and my other brother Patrick, he's 7 years younger than me. Okay. And we have good relationships. We talk, and both of them, and even myself, have expressed, hey, once Grandma and Grandpa passed away and this all happened, like we lost everything. Even my cousins, we've had this conversation. I said, I totally understand, and we've had a decade to figure this out. We no longer go this long without talking or seeing each other. We get the opportunity to rebuild something that we lost when this happened with the divorce and foster care. And also when my grandparents left, like our whole family kind of went, poof, just, we saw our parents kind of at each other's throats, and we're like, this is not how we grew up.
Yeah.
This isn't what family was for us. And we have a choice to blame our parents for, their mishaps and all that stuff, or say, hey, let's just never do that.
Yeah.
Let's just never do that to each other.
Yeah.
Our cousins and my siblings alike were like, hey, dude, we're here for each other.
Yep.
We grew up really close, and then it was ripped out later on. And then we were all at an age where we're doing our own life, and we're all frustrated at the same root cause.
Yep.
Hey, how do we just fix that?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's good that you guys can get together, and voice that, right? Because some even siblings or family, they don't feel safe enough to even voice that part.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think that me and my sisters, and if I didn't say before, I have 3 younger sisters.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you got to feel safe enough and build that community environment with your siblings to be able to say that hard stuff. Because I think our family, it was always very passive. You never talked about how you really felt, or you never really, or if you were mad, you kind of just said some, quip and then moved on, right? Or like, oh, I'm just kidding, or
yeah, I'm just kidding, but here's the knife wound.
Yeah. 60% of that's not kidding.
I didn't mean it that bad. I still meant what I felt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you've been married for?
So I've been married for 6 years in May.
6 years in May. That's awesome.
So yeah, it's actually my second marriage. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Just learning this today.
Yeah. So and learned a lot. I got married younger and learned a lot from that.
Yeah. I kind of briefly remember you talking about that, but we've never really got it. I'm on to this one,
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's good.
I'm definitely moved on to the second marriage, and Joanne is love of my life. Actually we met on Tinder.
Yeah.
So that's, so anybody out there, if you're on Tinder, it can happen. I think those things like apps and stuff, dating apps, I think whatever you're looking for, you'll find. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you put out what you want back. So, I mean, granted, I wasn't looking for a wife, but I was at least looking, to hang out, go on some dates.
For a relationship.
Yes and no. I mean, like I always said, if it happened, I wasn't going to say no, especially coming out of a recent divorce. I wasn't like, okay, I knew I wanted to get married again, but I didn't want to get married right away just to get married again, because that's all what happened before, right? I did before, just kind of give you a thing. I did everything because I thought I should, and not because I wanted to. You'd been dating a while, you liked the family. Okay, I guess it's time. People are asking you. You just
talk about hitting into the other fairway.
Yeah, exactly. So you just kind of get forced. I mean, I can make my own decisions, right? But I just felt like it was what I should do and not what I wanted to. And with Joanne, everything was how I wanted to do it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but yeah, married 6 years. We've been trying to travel on top of golf, my thing is golf. Joanne's is travel. So we've taken, big trip every year, as much as we can before kids. So, traveled over to Europe.
You guys just went to Spain recently.
Yeah, we just went to Spain in May for our 6-year anniversary.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So if anybody needs recommendations for Madrid or to Mallorca, I recommend 100% go. So
absolutely.
It's like one of my best trips yet. So.
My adopted parents, they did that. They got married, enjoyed the early marriage years, and then my younger brother Wyatt came along.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something they've instilled in me. Although not married yet, we're making sure we have fun. Yep. We go to the shows, we go play golf together every now and then. We make sure we do hikes, we do little things like that. I
think it's important because, and not to say it's wrong, but I saw a lot of my friends would get married and then right away kids. Mm-hmm. And I think, and to each their own, but what I saw was, enjoy each other for a little bit. I know, pressures of family, and once you get married, the next question is like, oh, when you're having kids, or you get married and you feel like, okay, now I have to have kids or whatever it may be. But just for me and Joanne, we wanted to enjoy each other for a few years, even if that meant pushing back having kids, maybe having kids a little bit older than we initially wanted. But yeah, we just want to enjoy each other. And I think we've got that because now, if and when we do have kids, you can give your whole self. It's not like, oh man, I wish I could be in Spain right now, not having done it, but now I've done it. So I'm like, it's cool. Right. And maybe if they're old enough and we feel comfortable enough, we can travel with them, So, but if not, we've done it, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think we've gotten the full life of each other for 6 years and dating years, and so, I think you should, if you can, time permitting, try to enjoy each other for a little bit.
Something I've seen a lot of, like on social media recently, is like the opposite of that. People want to jump right in head first, dive into the deep end on a relationship, but you don't get to find those qualities and those characteristics that you can really fall in love with. You love the person because they're there. Yep. They make you laugh a little bit. You have a good time. But when you have those deep conversations, you have those traveling conversations, right? Like you travel somewhere and everything blows up in your face. Like flight gets delayed, you miss the flight, the hotel reservation got messed up. You want to know how that person reacts. Yeah. And it may not be a traveling thing, but it may be, hey, my car broke down or this or I lost my job, and see how that person responds, right? If I believe if you're going to get married, you marry your best friend. Yeah. Right. And you got to think like later on, I hear this a lot. It's like people are like, oh, my kids first, my kids first, my kids first. No, like that's completely false. Your relationship with God, then your wife or your husband, and then the kids, right? Like those are the formidable foundations like you need for a positive relationship. And if you look what people have in their world, like the people that last a long time, tend to have those things first. Yeah.
I mean, I saw something the other day. It said, for men, when we get married, we think that's the end. Like, whoo, we made it. Whoo, finally, hey, high five, guys. we made it to marriage, right? We got the wife, move on to kids, and you're done. Well, no, really, that's the starting line. And you need to continue to date your wife. You need to continue to take her out. You need to continue to be there for your kids. Like it doesn't, and I don't have kids yet, but I mean, I've been married for 6 years, and it's right. Like I had to work to continue to date my wife. Right. And it's, I wouldn't say it's not hard, but to remember, because you get in the monotony of the day to day of the weekend where weekends come and you just kind of want to relax. Right. And I think what has helped us is travel. But one of my big things this year actually was to continue to go on a date with Joanne at least once a month, and plan it. And I would say, if you ask her, I'm probably two for right now. And
she's just stacking the chips over here.
Yeah. So, but it is something that I have to make a conscious effort, because at the end of the day, I do get in, I'm very routine. And it's right when you're first dating your significant other, your spouse, I was planning everything. I was like, oh, let's go here, let's go there. And then it is kind of true. You kind of just get in the role of marriage and you kind of forget.
Right.
So that really resonated with me, and I just say to you, just continue to date whoever you're with, forever, and I think, like you said, that's the foundation.
I just had Tommy on last week, and he was telling me the same thing. He's been married for 20 some odd years, kids, all this stuff, successful business owner. And he, after our show, pulled me aside. He's like, hey, tell me about what you got going on, boom, boom. He's like, once a week, date night once a week, no matter what. It could be a walk.
Yep.
It could be a walk. It could be a hike. It could be whatever, just something small. Date your lady once a week, right? And I see my friends that have been married for a long time that have maintained a positive relationship with their spouse and their kids, right? Those are real life people.
Yeah.
How would you feel? That's the way I like to look at it from the other person's lenses. How would you feel if that person said, this month, no date. This week, no date.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I got golf. I got work and golf, right?
Yeah.
I got to work out. I got to golf. I got to read a little bit, right? Sorry, honey. And I think it's important for people to hear that, like, with your parents, right? If you count down the amount of time, how much time they have left in their life, how many times are you going to see them?
Yeah.
Is it once a year? Cool. If they've got 15 years left, you got 15 more times.
Yeah.
Right. If something were to happen to your spouse next week, how would you feel about the relationship up until that point? Would you be content with how you've treated her?
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it, for sure.
And I think that with our friend group, with everybody, right? It's like, if this person's in my world, I got to make sure that they know they're loved and cared for, because we've all had friends in trying times where all of a sudden doors shut, the phone stops ringing. Who's there?
Yeah.
Right. I would like to say that you'd probably be one of my guys that's always in my corner, and I'm here for you too, you know? And I would imagine with Joanne, dude, I mean, we haven't had that dinner just yet, but we met outside of Doco after the Nate Bargatze show, which was awesome.
Yeah, he was hilarious. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's so funny, dude. Golfer. Big time golfer.
He's going to be at the celebrity turn, or he was there last year. I don't know if he's going to be there this year.
Last year? Yeah, I'd love to see that.
But I know he's had a couple skits on golf, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, he's good.
It's about going golfing with the wife, and
he's got his driver. Yeah. I don't want to tell his joke. If you haven't seen it, go watch Nate Bargatze. He's funny. But he's got a funny way of talking about his relationship too, you know. But it's all good. Like, if you have that connection with your person, like, you got to think, man, you got God, and then your person. Like, how would you want them to feel at the end of the day? If something were to happen to you, would they be happy with how you treated them?
Yeah.
And everybody hits into the other hole every now and then. Like, they go on the other fairway, but like, hey, what's that recovery shot? What's that recovery shot? So what do you got planned going on for the rest of the year, man? I know we're already halfway through the year, and it's a doozy.
Yeah. So I guess, obviously of work, that the real estate industry never sleeps, even though it seems like it's sleeping right now. But yeah, I got work, but you've started this podcast, and I think you've kind of inspired me to also, to get in this podcast space and YouTube filming. So I'm gonna get together with our buddy Gavin and start up a little golf podcast. So I appreciate you inspiring me and kind of showing me the ropes. And I would say that, and then no big travel plans as of yet, as far as personally, but I'm just excited. It's prime golf season. Yeah. So I know I'll be doing a lot of that, and just hitting the links.
Yeah.
So you guys I like to play a lot of twilight golf, even though it's 110 degrees out. I'll still get out and play 9. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She's like, only you would golf in 105 degree weather.
Hand up. Me too. Let's go. Let's go.
So, probably, just focusing on the podcast and getting that going, and then just a bunch of golf as long as we can. We're lucky we live in Northern California, just California in general, and we can almost golf year round. And even if you want it, you can golf in the rain. Just get your gear.
I did this last year, dude. I've been intent about golf, right? August will be like 2 years since I really picked it up.
Yeah.
Right. And, man, I freaking love this sport. I know you guys are golfing Dark Horse next Friday.
The Ridge.
The Ridge. Oh, you guys are golfing the Ridge.
Yeah.
I booked Dark Horse for the week after.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm
21st.
Yeah, the 21st. Yeah, I'm going to be out there. Yeah. But that's cool. Yeah, the Ridge is on the bucket list too.
And I can say I just appreciate you, Rich, and you let me in to become a friend, and you didn't have to, and so I just want to say I appreciate that.
I appreciate you too, brother.
And
love you.
The fact that we connected on golf and sports, and and I'm excited to see where it continues to go, and be friends.
Yeah, it's just the entry point.
Yeah.
Right? We get to flower this thing and build it to whatever we want it to.
Yeah. I mean, imagine, we're here today, but imagine where we can be in a year, 6 months, and then 5 years, right? I think you've said it before, maybe I heard it on something else, but where we underestimate or we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 5 years.
100%.
But the common denominator is just be consistent.
Be consistent.
And just like I said, one step. And then I think for me, be positive, just keep putting that smile on my face.
That's it, dude.
And keep going.
It's a lovely smile, man. I love seeing it. Whenever I see you walk into the office or anything like that, I'm like, there he is.
I try,
dude.
Yeah. I try.
Absolutely, man. So I'm curious, what was one book that you've read recently or in the past that really changed your world that you'd recommend everybody read today?
Yeah. I would say there's two that I think that I have I save them. If I ever recommend it or anything, we buy a new one for that person. Because my wife and I have a couple books. But for me, like I was saying, the optimistic outlook and kind of changed my perspective just in life and in business was You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. I think that's her last name. Yeah, You're a Badass. And it just kind of tells her story of how she changed her mindset to be, super positive. Like one of her instances, like she always finds a close parking spot. And really all she does is like, okay, I'm going to the store. Oh, there's going to be a spot right there in front. It's almost like you're like, what's that when you like, you say it and then it happens, like
you're envisioning it.
Yeah. So you're, so she says, I never have to look for a spot because I already know my spot's there.
Speaking it into existence.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Your positive affirmations, right?
And so that's just one of her little instances, but she went from, doing a little blog to now writing this book and creating a huge consulting business. And she has other books now too, but that was just the main one and it's funny because it sat on my, someone got it for me and just sat on my dresser, sat. Finally, I'm like, you know what? I need to read this because I was kind of going through a time when do I decide to, go back to Sacramento, or do I decide to stay where I am, comfortable in San Jose? And so I finally read it, and it just was amazing. And every once in a while I'll go back and read it again and just kind of reiterate what I remember, or just, to hear those stories again. It just kind of reinvigorates you. And then as far as like business and investment, we really, Joanne and I both the book we live by now is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And he just, it kind of gives you investment look. If you want to invest in your 401k, if you want to do IRA, or if you want to do just your brokerage account, if you want to retire early. And what I really like about his thing is he doesn't go with the scarcity mindset, meaning like, you don't have to cut out your Starbucks every day. He's like, it's $5. Yes, maybe over time it will accrue. But what he does is like make your budget to where you have, let's say 20% of your take home and you can spend on whatever you want. So then it's guilt free. And he kind of teaches this your rich life. It's like whatever you want. So for instance, we like to travel, I like to golf. So we put money aside that goes into our whatever fund, and you can just spend it freely every month without even thinking about it. I mean, granted, once it's gone, but up until that point, I can go play around a golf. We can go travel. We can, and it doesn't cut into our 401k. It doesn't cut into what I'm putting in my brokerage account. It doesn't cut into what I'm putting into my savings account. And it's all automated now, because before, I didn't have a savings. I didn't have I didn't have an investment account, a brokerage account. And he kind of goes through everything step by step. The only thing that he doesn't recommend is buying a house, which doesn't help us, but but I think still just teaching how to live your rich life is monumental, and it's changed my life.
I love that. I'm gonna have to read that book. Yeah.
Because now, if we continue, obviously kids will cost, but if we continued, we'd be able to retire by the time we're 55. So, and just by budgeting and putting money away, and
that's 25 years of golf on your schedule.
Exactly.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's
what I'm waiting for. I was like,
yeah.
When I hear retired guys and they play 3-4 times a week, I said, I need that life.
I want that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the sooner I can get there, the better.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get that book, my man.
Yeah.
And last question for you today, brother. I so appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Man. Yeah, thanks
excited
for
to
having
golf later this year.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you'd give everybody in the world right now, or just one person in the world right now?
I think I said it earlier. I just be positive. Whatever you see on the news or in your life, and I know everybody has different experiences and goes through worse things, and and what I went through may not be as worse as someone else, and but just try to be as positive as you can and have an optimistic outlook, because I think when you do, one good thought can change your day. You wake up all mad, angry, like, oh, it's Wednesday, I got this meeting, I got that meeting. And, you just think of, like, for me, it'll be like, oh man, but I got golf on Friday. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just, I would say just be positive and be optimistic as possible, because I think you could, just by doing that, I think you'll the phrase everyone uses, like 10x yourself, so
change your thinking, change your world.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
I love you, brother.
Thanks.
Thank you
Love
so
you
much
too.
for coming on. We'll have you on again.
Yeah. Appreciate it.